Welcome to the Bowdudes, a podcast about archery and the lives it has ruined. The Bowdudes are not responsible for diminishing archery skills or lower IQ.
I worry about breathing.
Shut up and shoot.
And I'm totally lost.
God, I keep having to remember that we're PG-13. We were to help you with those pants?
No, he did not. I'm so glad you have yourself to crack up.
Logic and common sense will not be tolerated.
This is a very interesting podcast so far. All right, welcome back to the Bowdudes, a podcast about archery and the lives it has ruined. We're just a bunch of guys sitting around talking about shooting bows. The guys that do. I haven't shot one for a while, I don't think.
You said you were going to shoot last weekend, remember? You told me you felt motivated to get up and shoot your bow.
Then I got home and didn't do it.
Okay, perfect.
It's almost like here lately doing this podcast, I feel like I have about as much knowledge as if I was doing a podcast on chess or something, right? But we're still here.
You don't play chess.
I know. I haven't been shooting my bow.
I figured you'd say something like brain surgery or something like that. Something that would be kind of far-fetched.
But
we could do brain surgery. It can't be that hard.
So what I did in archery this week, well, first of all, we have Gary here tonight and Bob and Pib.
That's it.
You guys can say hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
But it's been a couple weeks since we recorded, and apologize about that. It's just kind of busy for the holidays, and we'll probably get 2, maybe 3 more in.
It was deer season. Let's just be honest.
Deer season
it was deer season.
And the holidays.
Deer season with guns. We do that in Missouri sometimes.
And is Bob the only one that's killed a deer this year out of this group?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
It'd have been bigger next year.
It would have.
That one wouldn't be.
Mostly he's just dead.
He's dead.
You killed it with a gun?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
there you go. You sound good now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he was
my
last one.
I liked your post on Facebook.
Yep.
If you don't get excited anymore, you should be done.
I'm done.
I'm done. Hunting with a gun.
You weren't excited?
No, I was mad.
Oh, that you shot it?
I'm mad that he had ground shrinkage.
No, I was mad because, we talked earlier about the scientific way to figure out whether I was going to go with my gun or my bow, and you said flip a coin.
Yeah.
So it come up heads, which was gun. Took my gun, and I'd hunted pretty hard. A few days, the Friday before gun season, I sat all day in a stand, Saw 4 deer. Actually, I saw 3 deer because I passed up an 8-point at 8:30 in the morning. And then an hour later, he turned around and passed him up at 25 yards, and he turned around and came back by at 12.5. He looked a lot bigger at 12.5 than he did at 25.
He was begging for it, Bob.
But
come on, Bob, do it.
I let him go, because I really thought, maybe there is a particular deer that would like to shoot in there.
Yeah.
And Saturday morning, then I didn't see another deer till right before dark. 2 does, well, a doe and a little buck, I guess it was, come through. So 3 deer actually all day Friday. Saturday morning, I flipped my coin and went out there with my gun, and there's a particular path over there that it's the 25-yard path, what I call it, and this buck came up right on that at 7:30 in the morning. Came on that, was coming on that path, and so I shot him with my 25-06 at 45 yards. He shot him through the ribs, and he ran over there and stopped and was standing there twitching his tail, and he's about 50 yards from going off the big cliff. So I had a nice open shot, so I shot him again and dropped him right there. And all I could think about was he was on the 25-yard path, best deer I've seen all year.
Right.
And I should have had my bow. And that was going through my head. And then as I sat there, thinking about that and everything else, I thought, no shaking. My leg didn't shake. And
so why'd you shoot him?
Because he was the biggest deer that I'd seen so far. He was a 3.5-year-old deer. Had 6 points on one side, 5 on the other. He was limping. He had a big old, his joint on his right leg was all swollen up and hard as a rock. And I just figured some people up there shoot them with 22s a lot and stuff. I've had 22 caliber lead in them before. I got to look, and then my son actually found the little marks, but there's 2 marks on it, and we think he got bit by a rattlesnake. Had 2 holes in his,
I'll be darned.
and it seized it up.
That'll do it.
He was good shape, fat, and everything else, but he just come through limping, and that's not why I shot him. I shot him because he was a large deer.
Yeah. And
I did have him on camera. We pulled the cards later and got to looking, and I had him on camera, and he looks pretty decent on camera, But on the buck that I passed twice on Friday morning, both times I passed him after he left, after he was gone, my right leg, got that shaking part, and it was just, and I saw one, a decent buck that I grunted at, tried to, he went by the hedge tree, and I was in another stand. That was the one I was talking about. When I saw him, he, same thing, I was shaking. And that's why I hunt.
Right.
To get that feeling. And so I told myself, wrote on Facebook, told myself I'm done. If I'm going to shoot my rifle anymore, it'll be at coyotes or crows.
So you're saying you're done. You're not done hunting. You're done hunting with a rifle.
Done hunting with a rifle.
Okay.
Done killing deer with a rifle.
Speaking of coyotes and stuff, we may have a problem. Up at Jack's property, we may have a serious problem. The coyotes might outnumber the people.
They definitely outnumber the deer.
They don't outnumber the raccoons.
No.
Well, that's what
or the badgers.
The week that I took off and bow hunted, I saw more coons than I saw bucks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I only saw 17 deer total in a week, and I saw 8 of them on that Thursday morning when it first got cold before. So I just wasn't seeing the deer.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely the deer population is still definitely down. I thought it was coming back up, but it just hasn't got up there yet. We killed 197,000 deer or something like that this year in Missouri, and I think that was down about 6,000 deer or so. And so it's the numbers are still way up there, but
when we had the EHD, they was talking about
the numbers are up there as far as killing them. But I think 77,000 of those were does, and the rest of them were bucks and button bucks.
Yeah. And they just keep the season going.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Those deer don't get a break.
It's nonstop.
Well, shoot, if we hunt this coming weekend, we got to wear orange again.
Had to wear
is it
orange
alternative?
Last I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't know. I know last
we've had to wear orange for almost a month now.
Yeah.
Well,
not here.
You usually have to.
That's
hunt.
true. You don't.
Yeah, you usually have to wear orange more days than what you don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy, though. You buy all the camouflage, all the scent and stuff, and go out there and put orange on every time to get there. When you get in your bow stand, you can forget about trying to kill a turkey.
I didn't think you had to wear orange during alternative season. Oh, it's doe season, isn't it?
It's doe season.
Doe season's coming up this weekend.
Okay. They need to cancel that.
Yeah, they really do.
They should have
for a couple
canceled
years anyway. But
when we had that EHD, they was talking about the states that went through it. The quality of the herd got better or something like that. I don't know if it has anything to do with it or not, but I know the local taxidermy shop, as far as the number of big ones, is up.
Right.
Quality of the deer. He's got some awesome deer in there. It's just.
But they also said that EHD always hit the big bucks. Those would be the ones you'd find.
Yeah, the 3.5 plus.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It depends on who you listen to.
Yeah.
Right.
All I know is his quality of deer that's in there is, used to, if you had 1 or 2 deer that was over 170 inches, it was a good year. He's got a couple of 200-inch deer in there, a non-typical 200-inch, and I don't know how many, over 10 that are 170 plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's real weird to sit and look at them because you always talk about why they put on a better antler on one side than they do the other. But if you could take probably half a dozen of those in there, and if the sides matched, there would be some typicals in there pushing in the mid 190s.
Right.
That's hard to do.
There was a guy at work showed me a picture today. His brother is a taxidermist, and he showed me a picture of this buck, and it looked like they sawed off one side from one buck, perfect typical, and it was really high. And then this one over here was non-typical everywhere and was shorter than the other one. It looks like it was 2 different bucks.
I bet you $100 he was injured on the other side.
Yeah, I bet it was too. Yep. It just looked like a completely different rack on both sides. It looked like some taxidermists had just pulled a trick, but it wasn't. It was an actual deer that got killed, So.
Have you been seeing the deer, Bib?
I've been seeing. I've had a lot of deer activity here, but it's nothing that 100-inch 8 points, scrubs, 6s, 7s. Never did. I saw a lot of good chasing, but nothing. I kept waiting, thinking, okay, these little bucks are chasing. The big boys are going to show up any time, and
they didn't.
And then last week, I had from Wednesday noon till Monday off, and had planned to hunt, and ended up being in a chair all week.
Yeah, you got a bad toe.
Non-athletic foot injury.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Oh, we don't even want to go into that.
Okay.
It's an old wrestling injury. It's an archery injury.
Yeah.
You stand on your feet too long.
Needless to say, they call me the Gimp.
Yeah.
He's walking with a limp, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
But the highlight of mine was my highlight of my deer season. I mean, rifle season really sucked. I got an invite to go hunt with a friend from work, and the last thing he said to me was, "Call me Friday. We'll make sure everything's still good to go." Da da da. Come Friday, no text message, no call. I left a voicemail, nothing. So I got left hanging on that.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning, my brother texted me and said, "Hey, come down here. We got 160 acres of timber to hunt over at the neighbors." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "I got a gun." He said, just bring yourself." So I show up down there, and the highlight of the day was I got to hunt with my dad's rifle.
Oh, sweet.
The one.
Nice, yep.
It was a hand-built rifle.
So that was the rifle you had waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That made it worth the drive, didn't it?
yeah. Then and we had sat down. He's like, "Man, there's this awesome bluff back here." He goes, "We won't even need the tree stand. We'll just go sit on the edge of this bluff and overlook these bottoms." Okay. We get out there. We sit down. And I get the rattling horns out and just enjoying sitting there with my brother. And about 5 minutes into it, we look up, and he goes, and I said, "Is that a coyote?" Because I caught movement. 100 yards to our right, here comes the owner of the property walking down a trail with my nephew. And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we get back. No big deal. Come to find out, this guy's a veterinarian that owns the ground. And his wife she's not against hunting, but she just doesn't care about it. Mm-hmm. So every morning she has 4 Irish wolfhounds, and they walk the whole property every morning with
Nice.
these dogs.
Yeah.
And then the guy asked me, he says, "Man, I said, well," he goes, "I want to shoot a big deer." I said, "Well, you got a problem." "What's that?" I said, "You need to keep the dogs out of there." "Oh, she'll throw a fit." I said, "Well."
Yeah. Did they just walk it and leave?
Yeah.
If they just walk and leave, the dogs won't bother the deer that much.
No, I mean, but when you're out there hunting, I mean,
Yeah.
we showed up at 1:30 in the afternoon on Sunday just to say hi, yada, yada, yada. And here comes the nephew in with their 4 dogs and his. We just walked the whole place.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, anything that would have laid down and would have come out, chances are you're probably not going to see it.
Right.
So, I mean, the deer there, I'm just pretty sure everything's nocturnal.
Yeah.
So,
It does not have a choice.
but just to get to sit with my brother and hold my dad's rifle and say I hunted with it. I mean, it would have been nice to shoot a deer with it, but
Right.
and I didn't care what it was. If it was a doe or a scrub, I'd have just to say I shot something with my dad's rifle.
Yeah.
So
It'll happen.
Yep.
so then, to make a long story short or longer,
You've never made a long story short.
Sunday afternoon, as we get up Sunday morning, and we're just kind of messing around the place down there, and I looked at Barb and said, "Why don't we just go back to our house and I'll bow hunt this afternoon?" So I had hung a tree stand on the neighbor's place a couple weeks ago. Oh yeah,
Okay.
and he's in the process of moving,
Yeah.
so this will be my last chance to hunt him this year. So I've got it I got a perfect wind for it. I haven't been in it yet. I'm like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to hunt. As I pull down the road, here comes my other neighbor with his tractor dragging an old pickup out of the place where I was going hunting. So they'd been down in there in the bottom messing with his old truck and dragging it up out of there. So I was like, oh, well. So I just I helped Barb fix dinner, and we sat around and watched The Walking Dead.
Came down here and shot a Vegas round, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, did you pick your bow up, Mr. Gibson?
I did not. It's been a bad year deer hunting for us. My main goal was for Josiah, my 13-year-old. He's killed one every year, I think, and we didn't even get a shot. And
You kind of had some adversity on you.
yeah, but
Did anybody kill a deer on the property?
one of my niece's son. Yeah, he's 10 years old. And he killed a decent 10-point. That was his first deer, so that was pretty cool. So that was good. But besides that, I don't think anybody even killed anything.
You mean the Taj Mahal didn't work?
No, Taj Mahal didn't work. But
It's Taj Mahal too. It's not.
I do the same every year. Right before the season, I buy my tags, and I always buy an extra doe tag. And I'm gonna shoot the first doe I see. And as always, the first doe I see, I had 6 or 8 of them out in front of me, but it was right before dark on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and so I didn't shoot them. And then I've regretted it ever since, because I wanted some meat. And so,
Well, if it wasn't for Barb, I wouldn't have any meat in the freezer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I should have done that. I'm kind of getting lazy the older I get. It's kind of like I kind of want them to come by at like 10 to 10:15 in the morning, and that give me time to get them out of the woods and get them cleaned up, and then take a nap and
Come back out later.
maybe come out later. And so if they don't fall within that 10 to 10:15 time frame, I have a hard time shooting one.
And you got to wait till they're headed for the truck.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah, that's if they're pointing towards a neighbor's house or towards a big ditch or something, I may have to pass them in too.
So we basically get the deer up on your property and your schedule.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
They'll figure it out.
That's right.
Kind of learn what to do.
I mean, I might shoot one around 9 in the morning. That'd be good, especially if it's cold out.
So you could go take a
Yeah.
nap, then come back and get it.
Now, one thing we did do, we went up and we walked the property too, and we found a lot of places where there was rubs and scrapes that we didn't know were there.
That weren't there before rifle season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just showing up now.
Yeah, these scrapes
like a month late.
These scrapes didn't have a leaf in them.
And the rubs were the tree was still soft.
Most of the rubs were fresh.
Yeah.
It looked like. It's weird. I don't know if it's just happening late this year or just a long extended rut this year, or what? It just doesn't seem like it was as intense as
It didn't seem like it ever really started, but it hasn't quit.
it seemed like it was intense there for about a week, but it was all small bucks.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't know whether the bigger bucks are. My buck was walking through all by himself.
But he was a gimp. Nobody liked him anyway.
Well, he was after a doe on the camera.
He was a bib.
Yeah.
Earlier in the week, and the deer that my son shot, he shot a real nice heavy 8-point, and he shot the 13th deer that he saw that morning, opening morning, but he shot it at noon.
Yeah.
And then he saw one more buck after he shot that one, but and I'm pretty sure he saw the 8-point that I let go, and credit to him, he let it go. Normally he doesn't do that, but it was actually facing towards where he had his son, where my grandson Silas was hunting, and he thought he was going to go over there. So, but yeah, he shot a real. He was as a crow flies less than between a quarter and a half mile from me.
Yeah,
and just had deer all over him all morning. Of course, like I said, I shot mine at 7:30, so I got up. But his deer came through by itself, wasn't?
Huh.
It's funny how that works. I can be 150 yards away from Barb, have deer all over me, and she not seeing a thing.
right.
I was 200 yards from, 100 yards from the bottom. I think I might have said before, my tree stand, the deer have kind of migrated around it and made that their bedding area. We didn't get a chance to mow this year, so it's tall. They're just all laying there, so I took the high road. I'm like, I'm not even going to go down there because it's just going to blow everything out when I walk in. So I sat about 150 yards from my normal spot. My brother's texting me, are you seeing all these deer? The bucks are running like crazy. We're not seeing very many does. There's just bucks everywhere. And Larry killed a fairly nice one. I sat in the same spot from daylight till dark and didn't see a deer. Not one.
Not one. Huh.
Larry kills
Not
big ones
one.
every year.
Anyway.
Best part was
Story behind that. I'll tell
best
you
part
later.
of my deer season so far was getting home from work the Friday before rifle season and getting out of the truck. And I bet I walked 15 yards from my truck door and looked in the backyard, and I could see Barb sitting in her tree stand. And I sent her a text message. I see you. I go in, walk in the house. No other way to put this. Walk into the bathroom to do the deed. And I sit down, and 2 minutes later, here comes Barb. Got one.
There was a bigger one, but your text message scared it off.
Yeah. Well, my son was giving me crap about shooting a cripple, and he caped his out and took it up to March because we always, if a bigger deer, we give him the capes, and stuff, and because there's always somebody that cuts one right in the middle of the white patch in his throat and said, "Can you fix this?" I said, "Well, I'll try." And then
stretch it, make it fit on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So and then he had it up there, and so Martin was skinning the head out because he was kind of caught up there on skinning him out. And he looks at Aaron and says, "Do you notice this deer was blind in this one eye?" And I was all completely been blind for a long time and almost grew shut. And I said, "Don't give me crap about shooting a cripple. You shoot one blind." I said, "You probably shot him on the blind side."
He was feeling his way through the woods when you shot him.
He's probably a seeing eye dog with him.
But those
go left.
are tough. Man, they're tough, though. I mean, one thing, I did see something I've never seen before. On Thursday, like I said, I saw 8 deer that Thursday morning. And one of the last does that came through, I kept looking at her. Something's not quite right. Just couldn't figure it out.
She had balls?
Until she walked by me. No, she was missing something. She did not have a tail.
Oh, really?
I mean, not even a stub. Not even a little. And she walked, right down below me and walking out. And when she got past me, I thought, crap, I should have shot her.
You'd had her mounted backwards, wouldn't you?
I'd have had one of them doorbells done. But how many people can say they shot a white-tailed deer that
Had no white
So-
tail.
Had no white tail.
Is that just a birth defect, or is it like a midge fly got in there and her tail fell off?
No, I think it was as slick as the hind end was. No, I think it was a birth defect.
Just born that way. Huh. I'll be darned.
I'll be darned.
I don't think she froze it
kinda like
off
you, Jack.
or anything like that.
Completely not archery related, but are you trying to quit smoking?
No.
Oh.
You kidding?
I've never seen you chew before,
Oh,
I have.
and you're chewing.
that's just because I didn't want to smoke you guys out.
Oh.
We appreciate
I'm trying to be polite.
We appreciate
That's what I do in the deer stand.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He used the cigarette underneath him for a thermocell, and then just choose.
We did check cameras.
Pour Dopey on this burning cigarette.
Yeah.
That way.
It's like incense for the deer.
We did check cameras, and we'd been talking about how we usually get a ton of bobcats, and we hadn't seen any bobcats this year. And we
got
finally
one.
got a big one, too
Yeah.
big and long.
Huh.
And then I got something that I've only seen once in the wild, and it wasn't really in the wild. It crossed the road in front of me, and I've never got a trail camera picture of it. And that's a badger. Gary and I. So
There's more.
I've
of them.
seen them up close and personal.
Yeah.
They're scary.
They like that railroad tracks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I've seen several.
have you? Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
like
that's
the
why-
rocky edges of it. They get in, burrow in there. And
I had one cross the road one night when I was out cruising the back roads, and that's the first one I ever got on camera, though. So
You ever had a
They-
mountain lion cross in front of you?
they make a
Nope.
weird noise, too. Have you ever heard one?
I've heard them squealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a little pig or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've had an old boy that grew up trapping and stuff around there. He asked me one time if I'd ever caught a badger, and I said no. He says, you just wait till. He says, if you had a 20-foot long chain, when you came up there, those badgers would have dig around a circle. They just dig, and they'll mound up dirt. And said, however long your chain is, they'll be sitting on a mound of dirt up that high. So they just keep digging in a circle, going around, and that dirt piles up. And he said, when you come up on them, if you got a 2-foot chain, he'll be sitting on a 2-foot mound of dirt looking at you when you come up there.
No, he won't. He'll be looking over my direction. He'll be looking at crosshairs between his eyes going, hey, guess what?
But Martin's had some of those come into the shop to get mounted, and the beaver's rough on a sharpness of your knife. You got to continually keep sharpening your knife as you're skinning the beaver out.
Right.
And badger's 3 times worse.
Really?
Yeah.
that tough, huh?
It's just that fat, between the hide and everything else when you're skinning. It's like running your knife on a concrete floor
They
trying
just
to
look
skin out
mean.
yeah.
They are mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the meanest damn thing in the woods,
Yeah.
I think. They ain't afraid of nothing.
Honey badger don't care.
They ain't afraid of nothing.
Well, we were going to get some traps and trap these coons, but now that I've got so many pictures of them, I almost feel like they're pets or something. I hate to go trap them.
They wave at you.
We have this one where that badger was. We have these two, and it looks like a ball of hair, and you can't even see their feet. They're so freaking fat.
Yeah, they look like little pumpkins, little gray pumpkins.
And
Actually, it was kind of weird, though, because one of them held up a sign that said, hey, your mineral block's gone.
yeah, we need some more mineral.
Wasn't sure, what. So we took them one.
Yeah.
We took another one down there. Made
But-
sure they had plenty.
So what's going on in the archery world these days?
Oh, gosh.
So Illinois is coming up this weekend,
Not this weekend, but next.
and what's the name of that again?
The Midwest Open.
Midwest Open. It used to be Presley's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You going, Pip?
Not at this point.
Yeah. I'm not either. I got.
I'd like to, but
He can't stand up long enough on his gimp leg.
I haven't put the work in.
Is that the
I
only
was
one in
I was
December?
headed that way.
Yeah.
You got a week. Come on.
What do they shoot there?
They do this. Basically the way I understand it, it's the same thing as the KC shootout, where you do the 5-spot 360 round and then a 330 round
330.
Vegas face.
I see.
So and then January 7th and 8th is the Iowa Pro-Am.
Yeah.
You going to it? Is it still in Des Moines?
No, yeah, it's in Des Moines, and I may go to it because I got an invite from Tracy the other night.
Yeah.
Split the room 4 ways, so that's pretty cheap. And it's
I
not
remember
too
when
far.
I used to be up in, what was it, Mason City?
Yeah, that was forever and a day to get there.
And it was always, you'd always run into a blizzard.
Yeah, that year I went up there, it was like minus 30 and
Yeah, always cold.
Yeah, I'm signed up for
Are
Iowa.
you?
For Iowa?
Yeah. So
I don't know. It may come down to where I just shoot the shootout this year and get ready for Foley. All depends on the
Foley's
how
in
much.
February.
Yeah, my work schedule. This time you're getting started. With weather the way it is and the line of work I'm in,
Yeah.
things can get pretty slim around January.
Yeah.
Or they can be like last year.
Yeah, nonstop.
You worked every day, and the snow consisted of one Saturday evening.
Yep,
So what was that new release you were showing us?
that's the deal of the century right there. That's what that is.
Steal it.
$100. I think it retails $229, something like
Probably.
that. But
Is that something new or has it been out for a while?
they came out about this time last year.
Dude, it's outdated. You need to get a new one.
Yeah.
They haven't come out with their new stuff yet.
Can you even shoot anything with that?
Yeah,
Does it still work?
56X. I'm stuck at 56 with it.
And it's a Scott Halo.
Yeah,
It's the release's fault you can't shoot a 60.
no, it's not.
you better tear the bow
Okay.
down and put it back
Now,
together.
I agree.
I'm
Try
being,
putting the whisker biscuit in backwards.
There you go.
I'm being, what's the word?
Facetious?
No, not facetious.
An a-hole?
Yeah, I'm being that because
Got to throw something out there when he waits.
if I was still shooting competitively, I would be the same way. I'd be buying the newest thing that came out. And I know that's not the newest thing that came out, but where I'm going with this is everybody wants the newest release that comes out. And when it comes to a release, but especially a back tension release, how much better can they get?
That's the thing. I tried the Fulcrum last year and thought it was going to be
There's only
the
so many
end-all, be-all.
ways you can twist the handle or anything.
No,
Right.
isn't it basically how it feels, after how it's grooved and how your
Actually,
hand fits in it and all that stuff?
Here's the
Isn't
deal.
that about the best you can do?
I've had that one.
Uh-huh.
That's the original Scott Longhorn Pro brass.
Right,
I've shot that since 2004.
right.
I've been shooting it.
What's the difference? Except this comes up a little higher, right?
It's
here.
a little that end's bigger. That's about it.
There's not a whole lot of difference in it other than they did some work.
It's fatter and your hand fits in it easier.
Well, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Without-
That's what I'm
I mean,
talking
it's-
about.
it is
but the
really
rest of
comfortable
it's going to be basically 100.
Thing about it-
95% the same.
Thing about this one is I've shot this release for so long, and I shoot it with a click, and I can basically shoot it with like a trigger. I can relax to the click and pull through it like I'm supposed to, or I can relax to the click and then relax just a little bit more and know that it's going to go.
Segue with that, Jack. That's perfect.
To do what?
What we're going to talk about tonight.
I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Oh my god!
This is your topic.
Well, that was a perfect segue.
So
If
it
you
was. That's why I was going
missed
there.
it.
If
That's
he would
why
have
I
paid
was-
attention,
Hold
it
on.
was a
So
perfect segue.
Hold on. 3, 2, 1. Go again. And then you segue in.
Well,
I'm not editing it, so it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
I'll make you
over the
guys feel
years
better.
that I've shot this release, I have figured out I can shoot it basically like a trigger if I want to, or I can do it the right way.
Click bang.
Click bang's trigger. Usually click bang is I just keep pulling.
Right.
That's how you normally shoot, though.
Pretty much for the most part. But I've decided this year that I'm going to break myself of that, and I'm going to shoot a hinge the correct way. And not that I'm shooting this incorrectly, because there's several different ways to shoot one. But
Then why not just shoot an evolution?
Because it takes a real man to shoot an evolution.
no, I've played with one. Yeah,
I've always wanted. Everybody says evolution's for training, and I don't understand why not just compete with it.
Some people do. I don't see any, I mean, a release aid is what it is. I mean, if any of them can be shot incorrectly, but any of them can be shot correctly, and when shot correctly, it's the same motion.
Right.
This release, just happened. I happened to see a buddy trying to sell it online or trade it online, and then I saw that the deal fell through, and I asked him about it, and he goes, $100.
Hook a brother up.
And I said, sold, because I can't go anywhere and order it for $100.
Yeah.
And then when I got it home, I immediately set it up with a click, and the click is different between the two. Let me say this is like a 2000th, and this may be a 4000th, right? Well, that threw my timing off, and I thought, heck with that. If I'm having that much of an issue going from click to click,
Explain
I'm just getting rid of the click.
2000th to 4000th. What do you mean?
There's a hesitation. Once it clicks, you have 2000ths more pull on the release before it actually goes, before it breaks.
And you can't change that.
So you're not click bang, you're click bang.
Yeah. Exactly. So I just decided that, heck with it, I'm going to learn to shoot it without a click. And I started. And so far I like it. I'm stuck at 56X with it, though.
See, that's what I've never figured out, because you're supposed to have, quote, the surprise release. But people set their releases up with a click. So it clicks, and then you know that she's getting ready to go.
When I first started shooting this release with a click, I would get a surprise release with it. And at that point, all the click told me was, get on target, and then finish your shot. Or start your shot. But it's gotten so ingrained in me that it trips me up every now and then, and it causes me some flyers. And it's caused some anticipation with me, where I don't wait for it to go. I make it go. And on a blue face or Vegas face, that's ugly. That's out in the blue or out in the red.
Can you ever hear somebody you're shooting next to's release go off?
No.
Click? No,
I don't. No, I don't. You think about it. If you're hearing that guy's and paying attention to what that guy's release is doing, you're not paying attention to what you need to be doing.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a good trick, though? You set yours up to go off as loud as possible. You pull it, goes, click!
Yeah.
Everybody in there's like, what the?
Well, you just get one of those clickers, and you walk up behind the guy because he's beating you. Click.
Click, click, bang.
Believe it or not, WR, he's
Wesley Roberts, the guy you used to shoot with.
He's had a thumb release, and I
You
think
can click it.
Mobuck up there, he shot a hinge with a click in it, and WR, he'd stand behind him clicking that thing back and forth. His release back and forth, set it, click, boom, shoot it, just in his hand. And Mobuck couldn't.
He couldn't take
it. He'd be back because he couldn't hear his. I thought he could have felt it, but he couldn't hear his. And he let down and turned around. WR and I, we just die laughing. Usually it was because it might have been the last target, and they were within a point or two of one another or something like that.
Little gamesmanship.
Yeah.
Gamesmanship.
But now, I remember George Riles on one of his videos or something like that I saw on Facebook or something where he showed his shot sequence, and he pulled back, and when he drew his bow back, when his bow hit, his release clicked.
Yeah.
And then
that's usually the
before
way I
he even
set mine
settled
up.
in.
Yeah.
But feel that click in that one. It's gotten really soft over the years.
But it's
I don't even know if I know how to work it.
I don't have any idea how to work it, so don't look at me. Well, the evolution.
There's not much
It
of a
actually is a
click
surprise
there.
every time.
Yeah.
Like you were saying
Yeah.
the other day, you could make that like mic. Where you couldn't manipulate the like mic like you could your other one and
Right.
make it act like a trigger. I've tried with that evolution, and the only way I can do it is if I just basically grab it and just pull straight through it. And I still don't really know when it's going to go off.
Right.
But it does make me focus a lot. And I know when to let down, because when I'm thinking, this thing should have went off, when it should have went off, then I let down. The problem is it's kind of weird, because like one time I can think, man, this thing should have gone off. And if I stay concentrating on it, it'll go off at that instant, and it'll be a great shot.
Yeah.
So,
But if
that's the thing I've been the thing that I'm working on.
That's what I'm saying. If it gets in my head and doesn't go off right then, if I don't let down immediately and it does go off, it's usually a good shot, because I'm concentrating on it so hard. But then there's that other thing. The other day, I was shooting with Larry, and I thought, this will be neat. I'll just go ahead and so I'm going to shoot this whole round. I'm going to shoot this target for it, because I'm going to learn how to shoot it.
Yeah.
Got back at 50, got all settled in. Stuff wasn't right, so I was going to let down.
Grab that thumb and it went
Pulled the
off.
thumb, boom, there goes my $20 arrow right over the target. Walked right back to it. Set it right where it was. That's the whole thing, because
The thing about it is, though, that
wasn't right.
A good shot with your evolution feels just like a good shot with this. I mean, it's the same feel. And right now I'm having to...
But with an evolution, you can pull straight back, where with that, you have to twist it a little bit.
You don't have to twist it. That's where everybody gets it wrong. You don't have to manipulate this release to make it go off.
Thunder is listening to this right now, and he is going crazy in his truck.
Let him. That's not how I shoot it.
Next week from tonight, or from today, he's going to be listening to this, and he's going to be saying you're wrong. And then we're going to be getting
let him say
we're going to be getting group me messages on how you're wrong.
That's
fine.
fine.
To manipulate it.
That's fine. let him come on up, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I ain't scared.
You don't have to hit him.
You would be scared if he steps on your foot.
Okay.
Be
There's that
whining like a
release,
little
right?
girl.
Okay. Yep.
Did I manipulate that?
I don't know. I need slow speed camera. Yeah, he has to go back a little bit.
It is going back a little bit, but I'm not manipulating it.
He's not manipulating He's not manipulating it, Jack.
I'm letting it work in my hand. There's a difference.
I think we're splitting hairs.
No, we're not splitting hairs.
No, we're not. We're
To manipulate something, you go.
Yeah.
That's a manipulation.
You pull it.
You work it in your hand.
But isn't that the proper way to shoot?
This is
that?
awesome.
No.
This is awesome for an audio podcast.
What he did when he's holding it back, he basically squeezes your
ring
pinky finger and your ring finger, and you can make that release kind of go up a little bit,
because he's
and then it
shooting
goes
a
off.
hinge release.
Yeah.
Right. But if shot correctly, you just pull and let it work in your hand.
Okay.
That means you have to be relaxed from this point.
Which is what? Tell me.
From your hand,
Uh-huh.
your knuckles,
Okay.
clear to your elbow.
But see, you can't do that with an evolution. You can't be relaxed.
No,
like that.
because if you do
if
that,
your hand
it lets
stretches
the
out-
tension up on the...
Yep.
You lose the tension.
You shouldn't use an evolution because you're too tense.
2/10. It was 4/10 while ago.
Okay, but I've listened to a bunch of different people, pros on how they work the release,
They all do it different. There is no right wrong.
and it all boils back to what works for
It's what's right for you.
right. And so whatever you can do to have a repeatable
Yes.
shot, the same way every single time. I've yet
Problem
never been able to find it.
Here's what happens with me though, and the anticipation is when I'm shooting that click, I know exactly when I can make that go off. So I can put it there in the middle, and I can get to that click, and I can make it go, and it goes in there and goes in there till it doesn't. Mm-hmm. That's when the problem occurs.
Right.
So if I do away with the click where I have to stand there and shoot it just like you do your evolution, where you're focused on what you want to hit, and all you're doing is pulling and waiting for it to go and holding that pin and focused on holding that bow.
See, that right there is where a lot of people mess up, because they focus on that pin.
Yes, instead of what they want to hit.
The pin is never sitting still.
No.
Yeah.
It looks like it's running a marathon through
As many years as I've been
an S curve. It's just going everywhere.
So as many years as I've been shooting, I've had years where that pin would sit. Jack, you had the same thing. In fact, you probably have one of the better sight pictures than any of us in this
Because we
room.
always ask about him.
Maybe 10 years ago, not anymore.
But
He can barely see the target now.
I can remember when my pin would just go sit at 6 o'clock at whatever I wanted to hit, and all I had to do was execute a shot.
Yeah.
The older I've gotten, the more movement I've gotten in my sight picture, and now I'm having to relearn to trust that movement and execute a shot
Yeah.
instead of making
because
a shot.
The problem is when you're sitting there and it's rock solid, a lot of times you're rock solid too.
Yes.
You're tensing your shoulders, and when
Yep.
you're rock solid, you feel like you're pulling the bow apart, and
But it's not doing nothing.
You're not pulling.
You're sitting there looking at the pin be solid.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
not executing your shot.
Right.
On
You
me,
have your shoulders have to be relaxed in order for you to pull through it. Because if you're tense, you feel like you're pulling, but you're not.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And for me, when it comes back, like you said, when it just sits there, then all I'm doing is I'm just holding the bow in one spot, and I'm looking at that pin stay solid. When it goes right, I draw back, I put it on there. Yeah, I may have some pin movement or something like that moving around. But in my head, when I think it's solid, it's because I've stopped looking at the pin and looked at my spot.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's when I still have movement there, but I'm not seeing it. I'm looking at the X, and the damn thing will go where you look.
Right. Yes, it will.
See,
and that's therein is the whole conundrum, the whole catch-22 of the whole deal, is being able to, once you don't trust that, being able to get back to where you do trust that.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
And when you're shooting in a pressure situation like an indoor, especially an indoor tournament, where you have to shoot shot after shot after shot, and especially if you get down to the 8th, 9th, 10th end, or how many, is there 12 ends? 12 ends. The 10th, 11th, 12th end, and you're shooting clean, then you start thinking about it. And then you're like...
The key is to not think about it. That's hard.
You're trying to get perfect, and when you're trying to get perfect, you're trying to hold your pin. And when you're trying to hold your pin, you're tensing up, and then you're holding forever because your shot's not going off.
Yep.
You hold forever anyway.
I just worked through my problem tonight, so maybe I should start
There you go.
shooting. But I can't afford to shoot competitively anymore because I sold all my stuff.
But just like
I can set you up with
Yeah, I
rest
can
and
set
everything
you up
else. All
too,
you
big
need's a
boy.
bow. I got everything else for it.
Will you take a chocolate lab?
no,
How about a little redhead?
I wouldn't get rid of her anyway.
but
But take a
just like
brunette. 50-ish.
last night when I was shooting in Vegas, and it's so important for me anyway to get that hole started in that 10 ring someplace, because
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of crap. They don't let you just go up and punch a hole right in the center to begin the round.
because if you
You start that hole in the wrong spot.
you get one off the side and you can't, and if you shoot it in there, maybe just on the like 3 o'clock line.
Yep.
And so you start shooting, and your eye goes to that hole.
Yes, it does.
It goes to that hole. I had my number 3 spot yesterday. First arrow, everything, on that spot, it was inside out in the X. I shot 4 arrows, and there was one hole in that one. My number 1 spot, it was improved cylinder. Now, I'm not kidding you. It was all over the place.
Yep.
And but it was just something about that third shot. I could pull back and I could just look at that hole and forget about it, and it was in there. And but going back to releases a little bit, the problem I have, I've got a heavy metal, the stand heavy metal with the thumb.
Yeah.
I shot that thing. I started shooting it yesterday, and my pin, when I pulled back, my pin was solid, and drew back, and I'd get looking at that X, and it'd go off. I was shooting great. Everything was really good. My last 2 ends, I could not get that thing to go off.
Because you had to have been thinking about it.
And yeah, and I actually let down a time or two, and that's not like me. Usually I He-Man through it, but
Right.
So after I finished, and my last 3 arrows were, last 2 arrows were ugly. They were red, or one of them was. So I put it up, and then we shot just after the game. I pulled out my stand back tension, or hinge release, and it was not a solid, as far as holding still, but there was just that little bit of movement. Shot 310s and went off, and it just felt good again. But the reason I switched over to the heavy metal is because it just the hinge just didn't. Last time I shot, which was 2 weeks ago or better, it just didn't feel good. Just didn't feel right, and everything else. But I've got a honey badger that when I was shooting that green Hoyt I got from Jack, that release and that bow went together.
Yep.
From the first time I hooked it up and shot it, there was just something about those spirals and that release. And I shot as good as I've ever shot in my life over there at Marshall.
That was an awesome day.
But I haven't hooked it up to another bow that shot the same. Now I don't know what. It's stupid, and it's got to be in my head. But when everything goes to hell, I just go back to
Might be because I touched the bow.
That black.
Oh God!
It's down in California, sitting on the ocean.
Don't feel bad, Bob, because I'm just as guilty of that stuff being in my head as anybody. I mean, you have a bow that you shoot well with. How many Pro Elites have I owned over the years?
I don't know, but if you can
This
get
year?
that brick, it must be special.
Oh, wow.
That's what I was going to say.
This year you've owned one.
Being you've committed to that other release,
Three. Oh,
you can give me that Scott, and I'll take it home and put it up on my shelf so you can't go back to it. Really?
Really?
Okay.
There you go. In case y'all are wondering, Pib just handed Bob his Scott release.
And nobody has had that
to
release but me since 2004.
But it'll be on my shelf
until
whenever you want it.
Until Vinny sees it.
I'd at least Lysol it or something.
I'm kidding.
Whenever you decide you need it back, call me, and I will laugh out loud at you.
Bob, you might want to watch that sweatshirt when you get home and Lysol your hands. You don't know where that release
That's brass.
been.
It'll be all right.
So he kind of touched on it. Ask your question.
What question?
The question you was going to talk about tonight.
Well, we're so far into it. Why go back to it now? Let's continue talking about releases.
This has got to do with that. So ask it.
When do you actually determine in your head, and not having the sight picture and all that stuff, but know when you settled in, when do you know it's time to release the arrow?
You don't.
What if the question was when do you stop the shot process?
When do I stop the process? The what?
I'm going to kick you in the teeth just for fun.
We're kicking Thunder in the nuts right now. That's what Thunder asking.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
When do you stop the shot process?
Thunder, for the listeners, Thunder's our resident psychiatrist or psychologist.
Psychotic.
Yes.
Psychotic.
But it basically I think what
Was
he
that
meant
a positive statement?
Yes.
Okay.
was when you decide to stop the shot process and let down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the original thing we're going to talk about is when do you know in your head when you've drawn back and you've got your anchor and you're just dialed in. When do you know
when it's in your head
that it's time for you to go ahead? Like especially people that shoot a trigger or a finger trigger, and you're just going to boom and shoot. When do you know?
If you shoot one of those, I don't think you know.
You don't. That's just a drive-by.
Yeah. When and I don't know about Pip, but I'm pretty sure it's. And the pros, they do it. I bet you if you time the pros from when they drew back and hit their anchor point to when it went off, it would be almost the exact second every time their shot process and how they work it. And I know when I pull back, when everything's good, and I draw back and get on the spot and start looking at it, and boom, it goes off. It's done. But if it's sitting there and I'm having to hold it, and I drift off of it a time or two, if anything in my head says let down, I should let down. I don't always do it, and things usually are bad. Mm-hmm. But when I say let down in my head, let down. I mean, you need to let down.
Yeah.
Well, it's not exactly what I meant, but
I shoot a pretty aggressive shot, meaning that from the time I draw that bow back, get anchored in, and go to my target, it doesn't take. It's pretty quick. Hardest thing in the world is to get towed on next to a guy whose shot process is slower than yours, and then you go, oh, I'm shooting too quick. Maybe I need to pace myself with this guy. I said, I don't. I had to get past all that. I had to just shoot my game, not worry about what he's doing over there. And
he hates you too because you shoot your last arrow and walk off the line and leave him up there by himself.
No, I don't. But I've seen
never had that problem.
I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when I shot freestyle limited, when I shot fingers, everybody tell me, yeah, slow down, damn, you're too fast. But me, when I pulled back and I got everything, and it just got in a rhythm. I'd pull back, and I'd hit my anchor point, I'd pull back, and I'd pull through the shot, and boom, it was going to load my next arrow. And I always told everybody it's because if I shot a good shot, then I needed to go ahead and get it before I forgot how I did it.
Yes.
And it was just, but there was times when I'd let down and someone said, "What happened?" I said, "My tab wouldn't go off." And it would. I mean, it was just, I was just holding. I wasn't pulling through my shot. But yeah, the sad part about it is I can go down the basement and
I used to be a basement hero.
I can hook my fingers up to a tab and shoot arrows, and it just feels fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Goes off. I mean, and I got a bow set up. It goes in there, and I should sell every release that I've got and just invest all that money into a leave and ibuprofen and the gallons and go back to shooting fingers and just keep taking that stuff because my elbow can't take.
So your elbow is worse whenever you're shooting with fingers than with a
most
release?
Definitely.
Really?
Yep. I shoot two fingers under.
Yeah.
And it comes right down that middle finger, right in through here, right down my arm, and right into that little ball right there.
In your elbow?
In my elbow, and just like tennis elbow. And it's one of those things that makes you piss your pants when it hurt. I mean, you can do it. You can reach over and grab something like a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And pain goes through you, and you
drop.
may even drop the coffee cup.
Yep. Bow elbow.
And that's what it is, bow elbow.
One year I had it in my bow arm.
And you had bow arm bow?
And it happened right before hunting season. So all during hunting season, I carried my bow in the other hand back and forth to the stand because I knew I only had to make one shot. And I didn't do any shooting rest of bow season other than the two deer that I shot that year. And that one healed up. Then
last thing those deer heard was
2 years 2 years later, I got it in my draw arm elbow, and that was 2008, and right the week before Florida, I went and got a cortisone shot in that elbow, and for that week, my whole arm felt like that elbow, just like, and one day it just all went away and everything was fine. I haven't had a problem since.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know how y'all remember dates. You're like golfers. Remember in 72 when we were playing the back nine on the third hole? My second shot? Oh, yeah, I remember that, Jimmy. What the hell? In 08, I was sitting in a tree stand.
You're so cynical.
I don't get it.
We're going to have
Where were we last year when I killed the deer?
We're going to have give you a private session with Forbes.
Oh,
boy.
With Thunder.
Yep.
Thunder and me.
But
Thunder and me. It's Thunder and I, you a-hole.
Not if I'm just going to be there. It's going to be me.
But
you're not going.
As far as letting down,
maybe the question should be, when should I start the memory process?
I'd like to know what the question really
When should we open
meant.
some dialogue?
But there you go again, letting down.
We love you, Thunder.
Richard Potter told me one time. I said I've had problems, letting down, and he said, "Well, that's pretty simple. Do you practice letting down?" No. Why not? You practice shooting. Why don't you practice pulling back? Basically, it would be an aiming drill and then letting down. And that's something I need to get back to doing is pulling back, aiming, and then when it gets past the point where open both eyes, supposed to shoot with both eyes. Gary's over here with one eye squinting. I don't know what he's looking at, but the year that I practiced letting down, when it come time when that little bug hit me in the head, I let down and my scores were better.
Yep.
But
I've been on a trip with you, Bob. I know you better than that. We don't need no stinking letdown practice. We just shoot it anyway.
Hey,
just when I'm at full draw, and the guy somebody says, "Well, just shoot it in the head," which meant the antelope target out there, however far we was, 30 yards or so.
No, we were farther. We were about 40 or 50
yards
back then.
So my bow just instantly goes up to its head and boom, shoot it in the head. But I shot it under the skull cap, shoot right out.
We found it.
Yeah. The guy had laughed. Oh, Ryan, he laughed hard at that. He said, "That's my man right there," he said. But they've been having pretty good luck out there.
Yeah, they have.
I've been watching it. They've been killing some animals.
We were talking about him the other day. Ryan's just one of those guys that just kill stuff.
Yep.
Well, yeah, did you see where he borrowed Michelle's bow and shot a turkey? She killed a mule deer, and they were still sitting there. Turkeys came by. He borrowed her bow and killed a turkey with it. That's what Jack and I were talking about. The dude is a natural-born killer.
Yeah.
If it's an animal, he'll kill it somehow. But there's some people who just have that knack.
I think it was funny as a little girl. They showed her. Did you see that where
With
she
the animals?
was playing with her little plastic animals on the floor? She'd say bang and then lay it down on its side.
She probably had 15 or 20.
Killed them all.
We're talking about our guide from the antelope hunt, Ryan
Solomon.
He's a guide for Fred Eichler out there in Colorado, and so he's guided to a bunch of elk, a bunch of mule deer, and whitetails.
He's a Georgia
boy, and I think they even have a plantation where they hunt hogs and stuff on them.
Hogs, deer, and
turkeys,
and alligators.
His wife don't mind killing stuff either.
No,
she's making them stick it if it gets close to her.
But yeah, that. Any other good questions, Gary? I mean,
that was a good question, Bob.
Just word it right. Word it correctly.
I did. Then thunder got in my head, and I don't even know what I was talking about anymore.
Go scrub your brain.
I gotta bleach my brain.
I had a text a while ago asking
Jedi mind tricks.
I gotta snort some bleach.
Asking what the topic was. This was from one of the Bow Divas.
We have never had a topic before.
So what's the topic? I said deer hunt now releases. She said deer are stupid. Deer hunting is stupid. Releases are stupid. Next topic.
Hi, Julie.
I said, must be Julie. I said, laugh out loud. Is this Vinny? And she's like, no, it's Jules.
See?
Says she was headed to the practice range. Said Vinny didn't feel good, so he stayed home. And
I bet she gets more practice in.
She said, tell all the guys I said hi and that Bow Divas rock. So
I'm not even going to comment.
Are they still recording?
I think so.
Tomorrow night.
They're going tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder if we're still recording, Mr. Gibson.
I know. And this will probably, I don't know.
We're going to break this into 8 podcasts. You're going to have 8 4-minute podcasts coming up. Thank you, Jack.
Sorry, I was busy.
Yeah. Like the story.
But go ahead.
When Pib, when you're shooting, what makes you decide to let down? Give me something that would happen that.
There's a window of time where I know that shot should already have gone. If I go past that window, and anything other than what I'm doing comes in my head, it's time to let down.
With me,
that's hard to do sometimes because you're in the middle of it. Especially if you shoot a hinge, you get so far into it, you know you're right there, and it's just going to take a little more for it to go. But if it's not going smooth, it needs to be let down and started over.
See, what I run into with
and
that
that's
evolution,
what I'm working on right now.
What I run into with that evolution when I'm doing that, I can usually tell I need to let down because I can feel my hand starting to stretch out. I'm kind of opening my hand up. But if I close my hand back, that release is gone. So I have to work on, okay, now my fingers are stretched out and I can just barely grab that little button, but I got to make it stop. That creates a problem. And like you were just saying, when you're into it that far, you know it only takes a little bit more, but that little bit more feels like you went 1.5 feet.
Right.
And you moved it, a 32nd of an inch?
Yeah, and then it goes from being a dead center X to 3 inches left in the blue or the red.
Where'd that damn thing go?
Yeah.
And
it turns into, shit.
all because of a 32nd of an inch that you should have looked.
And it's all right between here, right between your ears.
And you know, when we go out, and Larry and I still go out there quite a bit. Go out to James A. Reed and shoot that. There's maybe when we walk through there, and there's 28 targets, and a couple of them we shoot 2 or 3 times. A couple of them the bails are kind of bad because we figured out no matter where you shoot it, your arrow's going straight through it.
Right. Time to walk home.
There might be 3 or 4 per round where you draw it back, and it just lays on whatever you're aiming at perfectly. Why doesn't it do that on every target?
You should probably go to the range with Thunder and have him stand behind you with his hands on your shoulders.
Well, anyway,
I think I'm going to call this podcast. I think I'm going to call this podcast "Kick Thunder in the Nuts."
just call it Thunderstruck.
The thing that really worries me is,
man, they're tough on Thunder tonight.
That might have happened because Gary's face got red as red can be when you said that. So
I'm pretty sure it has happened.
But it has happened.
The bad thing is he's the only one I really shoot with. That right, Jack? And
now, we know you've been in the basement with Thunder.
I know, but I keep saying, I didn't know you had 3 hands.
Is that a roll of quarters?
or is that dime? You got a half a roll of dimes back there?
Well, that letting down part.
Oh, my God.
I got to change this up here. As far as having that click on your release.
Like a light switch.
We love you, Thunder.
My big problem is when I try to shoot a click, first off, it'd scare the hell out of me when it clicked. And I'd jump. Mm-hmm. But once I got past that, when it clicked and things didn't work right, I was scared to let down because I knew that it had already clicked. And
all you got to do is get on that thumb peg, though.
I know.
But you got to get to it without it going off.
But that's the problem that I.
No, he's talking about. He's not talking about safety. He's talking about
a hinge when it clicks, and then you got to get back off your little finger and stuff, and go back to your index finger and really pull hard on it to keep it from going off. So I just me and clicks don't get along. It just don't happen.
But back to your original question, Gary. Whenever I would be thinking about, when I'd think about my shot should be going off, that's when I needed to be letting down. I didn't. You know, you'd be back there aiming. This should really be going right now, especially if it was just holding right there in the center. You know,
that's what I was.
If I'd have learned way back then just to let down, I might have been somebody.
You were kind of a big deal.
He's a legend in his own mind.
Those days were fun, though.
Start singing "I'm Going to Be Somebody" by Travis Tritt. No, you're not.
Steel Force.
It's amazing the
God. I'll be thinking about that for a week now.
Hogs are tough. Watch as this Steel Force broadhead blows through 2 hogs. That was the you'd be in the range and Vic had a dart system next door. I mean, right next to the range.
Steel Force.
And that was the commercial on the dart, and you'd be back there at full draw.
It played when the dart system was
off. Hogs are tough. Watch as this Steel Force broadhead blows through 2 hogs.
And then it would start over saying the exact same thing. You could turn the machine off. Commercial still went.
The funnest part was, and the worst part if you were trying to actually concentrate on shooting, is when those guys from Platte City would come in to shoot the dart system. And they were so freaking funny, man.
Yeah,
I forget what their names were now.
Hoyt?
Hoyt was one of them, actually.
Yeah.
I think his name was Hoyt and he shot a Matthews.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of
one was a real tall guy.
Oh, gosh.
It doesn't matter. The listeners don't give a crap. But they would.
Yeah, but now we're all.
Yeah. But they'd come in and shoot that dart, and they just had joke after joke, and it just, you couldn't help but listen. You couldn't concentrate.
They were brutal on each other, too.
Oh, my gosh. So.
And dead serious about their dart game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were good at it. That's one game that I've tried a few times, and it's still out there, but. If you want to develop target panic, that's a good. Or if you want to learn how to punch a trigger, that's a good system to go play on.
It is. Especially when you're sitting there and they're letting you shoot. Where you shoot the game, there's 3 people shooting at the same time.
Yep.
And
Vic,
then when the other two guys shoot, and you're like, oh, hell no. Boom. There goes yours. Like, got him.
And
You
Vic
hit him in the left rear.
Vic, bless her heart, she had that thing set up fast, man.
Yes, she did.
Run down and get the arrows, quick.
She made some money on that thing.
It was
Oh,
like,
my God.
wow.
Remember when you ran suicides playing basketball? You had to touch the other end line and run back? That's what it was.
Yeah.
But you had to get your arrows all picked up. Make
They
sure the
did-
tips were screwed back
they
in and
did-
get back in time.
Those guys did come up with a great game, though. The bobber game.
Yeah.
You remember that? That was a lot of fun. They
Yeah.
stick a stick like 2 foot out of the target with some fishing line and a little bitty bobber hanging on the back from that. Try to hit that sucker. That
Yep.
was fun. You had to break it for it to count, though.
Right.
And you might be there till 2 o'clock in the morning if you don't let Vicky win.
Yep. Yeah, she first came back and was pissed because there was bobbers all over the floor, and then all of a sudden she started shooting them.
There was an archery shop there in Richmond for a while, and they had one of those rubberized softballs, and they had it on a string, and they'd swing it back and forth
Oh, wow.
and shot it. But you just had to shoot it when it hit the point up here, where it was at its pendulum, where it was stopping, getting ready
Yeah.
to come back. But it'd screw up a good aluminum arrow if you hit it just off the side a little.
Oh, I imagine.
Bend the hell out of them, Of course, they sold arrows, so.
Worked out great for them.
But yeah.
Well, boys, I need to go home and take care of a doggy who's been outside all day, and it's cold today.
Oh, my God, Jack. What kind of
sweet.
dog do you have?
It is
I
your
have a
anniversary.
lab. I have a lab.
And you're worried about that dog being outside today?
She
it
might
is-
be scared. She might be scared of monsters.
It
She's
is your
sweet.
anniversary of being engaged, isn't it?
It is.
That's what it said on Facebook.
It is today.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're still on Facebook.
You better stop by her a gift
I'm not
the
on
way
Facebook
home.
anymore.
You want to see? You want to see?
Yeah.
She even had a picture of when you got engaged. Did you took engagement pictures?
We did.
Yeah.
I
Don't
remember.
act like you don't
Oh,
know.
you're in deep doo-doo now.
She didn't listen to this. That's
You better-
coming up on
You might wanna
28 years now.
Stop and buy her a happy engagement 28 years later gift.
Yeah, those Quick Trip's got some roses on the counter.
I told her. I said,
he's
"Man,
not like
Jack
that."
looks young."
I'm gonna
didn't
go home
answer
and
me yet.
surprise her now. I'm gonna go home and say, you know what, hon?
Can I have some?
I think today is the day I propose to you.
She's going to go, oh, Jesus Christ, I just made that up, Jack.
She's going to
And
go,
then you
really?
go,
You
"Oh,
want
said-
it when?
Bob told you, didn't you?
If you act like you know, she'll never believe you.
And she's getting ready to schedule a cruise too because we both turned 50 this year. But she's not getting.
You're not already 50?
I turned 50 in January.
Oh, dude. You can shoot Senior Open this year.
See that?
Or you
Man,
can
that's a
shoot.
good
Hey,
guy
Jack,
right
You
there.
were ugly.
Jack, you
What
could
was she
shoot Senior
thinking?
known.
Huh?
You could shoot Senior known.
I don't have any equipment.
Well, he can't remember where it's at.
I don't see any reason you can't shoot that bow you got.
What bow's that? I can't remember where I put it, Sonny. So how is Vinny the youngest
Watch your
one?
mouth.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, I'm number 11. Or number 1 twice.
Hey-ho.
So how old's Vinny?
In a year, he's not there
48.
yet. In a
He's
year
40.
and a
He's
half.
older than me.
I don't know.
In
I'm
a
the
year and a
youngster.
half, I'll get to move from the old goats to the
Older goat.
really, really old goats.
So you'll be 49 too, like me, huh? Mm-hmm. Actually, I'll just be 48.
So how
Actually,
old will that be?
Why do I hang
55?
out with such old people?
6-0
60? You're getting ready to turn 60?
year and a half.
Year and a half. That's
Really?
not getting ready to turn.
But
He's
see-
going to have a birthday before then.
See where I really got
He is a jerk.
where I got screwed was when I turned 55. The year I turned 55 was the year that the NFAA, in their wisdom, decided to move it back to 50 for the senior division.
Yeah.
So
Year Bob turned 55.
I turned 55,
Rocks got hard.
And here comes Thunder.
and then no, I was talking about good shooters.
Gosh.
This is brutal.
Man. Well, but you know what? The guy didn't show up for a podcast for 6 months, then that's what happened.
Neither did you.
I was here. I just wasn't here.
Shutting up
mentally.
now.
But yeah, so I'll look forward to shooting against some old guys.
And the last time he was here, he had sand in his vagina.
I haven't had a good last couple months, but that's all right. Christmas is coming up, and I've gone from being a Western hunter to a
Pussy.
board.
That wasn't right.
God, I think I'm about to choke on that tea.
I might
Turned
be.
as red as you did a while ago.
I might be a- I might be a
about
professional board gamer before the start of the next year.
Oh, my
so.
God. You just said that out loud.
If anybody
You know
out there play board games, let us know. Anyway,
You said that out loud twice. I told you the other day we got to talk about
So
Tell-
you,
tell
so you
them about
trimmed
the-
up all those that camping area, and
him.
Gary,
well, you
did
had
most of
Gary.
it.
You had Gary trim up all that so you could go camp and deer hunt, and you didn't camp and deer hunt.
I camped one night.
And now we're going to put a Monopoly table in the middle of where the fire used to be.
I camped one night
Won't
by
that be
myself.
great?
In Bigfoot territory and everything.
I was in northeast Missouri, Bigfoot territory. It was a cold, balmy 72. You
It
are
was
getting
cold and
old.
chilly in the morning.
You are getting old.
You know that was the worst part about my week before rifle season when I was bow hunting. Is trying to set in a damn tree all day long with it being 65 and 70 degrees.
Yep.
And Bob hated being comfortable. It was horrible. He's like, God, I wish I was cold.
That's all old people, though.
I got down.
We walked
the days
uphill
it
6
got hot,
miles.
I got down and
Both
went
days.
back to the truck
Both
and went
ways.
home. I piss on it. I ain't sitting out here. in
You're
the
sitting
heat.
there and it's November and you hear zzz right around your ear and it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
opening day of rifle season. Guess who finally got the oak mites? This
did
guy.
you?
Face, neck.
They
around
should be
my
dying
eyes.
now. It was what, 44 degrees today at the highest?
Yeah, it was nice today. You might have even had a little. I'm serious. Today's the first day
I
I
swear
wore.
to God, you're part polar bear.
Today's the first day that I wore long sleeve, and you know the reason I wore this jacket around all day because I was out in the country around everything to keep the dumbasses from asking me, "Aren't you cold?" No, if I was cold, I'd put a freaking coat on.
He's like, no, I'm a polar
Check it
bear.
out, Jack.
Huh?
Just
I got a text
cold.
message from my beautiful daughter today. She's
Which
asking
beautiful
me-
daughter? You have two of them.
Katie. And she goes, "Is it cold out there, Dad?" So I sent her a picture of this. 79 degrees Fahrenheit in my
In your
Traco.
tractor.
Digital.
oh, I did have something really super fantastic happen since the last podcast.
Okay.
I had number 8 get on the ground. My 8th
Congratulations.
Teague Robert
Yeah.
made an appearance. So
Well, sweet.
opening day of deer season.
Really?
Yeah, that evening. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was. Of course, we brought
They playing that out about as good as I play in Josiah.
brought the.
Yeah.
Caleb's the one
November, November 1st.
when he was a senior, him and his brother was carrying a doe out that he had shot, and Aaron looked back at him and said, "This will be the last deer you ever shoot." Well, he says, "It sure will."
Yeah.
And he hadn't been back since, but
Everyone
yeah.
at Josiah's last several birthdays he's been in camo, blowing the candles out on his cage. or,
Well, that's-
or orange, Hunter Orange.
That's what we had to do. We stopped and I bought him some camo, and Monica actually bought a little outfit that had camo pants and an orange vest and stuff like that, like it was deer hunting and stuff. So we took it down. So
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's doing good. He's gained about 10, 15 pounds in the last
Holy
week. so-
cow.
He's a brown. He went from 8 pounds 7 ounces to 26 pounds. It took him less
He's
than
like
a week.
Jethro Bodine. He's born with a full set of teeth. Chewed his way out of the crib when he was a year old. Went out in the woods looking for something to eat.
He's already eating ham. Well, Tab and I actually had a discussion before we got married. Planned on having children. Made sure we didn't have any during hunting season.
Both, they're like a week apart, aren't they?
No, they're 19 days apart. April
Are
2nd,
they?
April 21st. One of them almost
April.
She almost gets into turkey season, so their birthdays are kind of questionable around then. Other than that, we usually make it. But yeah, they're both diamonds.
October 8th, October 11th.
You messed up too.
Yep.
But Tab's birthday's aquamarine, so it's almost expensive as diamonds. So I'm pretty much shafted no matter
The hell's
what.
aquamarine?
Yeah.
It's a gemstone, Bob.
It would be March.
You buy those
Yes.
things?
Huh?
You buy those things?
Well, sometimes it keeps you doing whatever you need to do.
The only reason I know
Whatever.
aquamarine is because I think they had a bow that colored one.
I feel sorry for Monica. And she
All
still
right.
cooks for you and loves you, Bob.
That's very much.
We're running out of steam here, and I got a sweet little baby chocolate lab. It's probably scared.
How old is she?
Cold. She's 2. She's getting ready to turn 2.
So she's 14.
She'll turn 2.
She's 14.
Should I bring
She'll turn-
Otto in?
She'll turn 2 January 5th.
When was your
Isn't that
birthday?
Elvis's birthday? January 5th?
The
You should
7th,
know.
isn't it?
Mine's the 7th.
Elvis,
Well, you're not Elvis, so no, it's not it.
All right.
You are the same age, though.
Huh?
At least the way you're acting.
Elvis who?
Wait a minute, Bob.
Careful. Careful,
Oh.
Bob. Careful,
You
Bob.
almost stepped on some toes, Bob.
So, hey, make sure you go and leave us a review on iTunes. We're going to be giving away that, what is it again?
it is a 64-ounce Arctic mug that is matte black with the Bowdudes logo on it.
Yeah, just go to...
So when the Bowdudes logo comes off, you'll have a really cool matte black.
Search Bowdudes Podcast on iTunes and go leave us a review there.
In the next couple weeks, we're going to ask a question, and when somebody answers it, we are going to give away the Arctic
The
Cup,
camo
the
one?
30-ounce. No, the camo one's at my house.
I want to win the camo one. That's pretty
You're
cool.
not going to win the camo one. You're not even getting
So,
one.
all right. We love you, Thunder. And we'll see everybody later. Motorcycle. See everybody.
See ya.
See you,
Shut up
funny
and
people.
shoot.